Well, hello, hello. Happy Tuesday. Let's talk Tuesday. Glad you're here. Roper, you're the man. You're like the first one. I love it. Um, it's good that you're here, and I'm glad to be here. And yeah, watching from Sao Paulo, Brazil. Well, welcome, William. It's good to see you as well. Hi, John. Good to see you guys. Um, I know it's probably really warm where you are. I don't know if it's is it summertime where you are in Brazil, William? I just know that most of us are in a lot of heat wherever we are in the U.S. right now, but I managed to find some cool areas, and I'm thankfully I have air conditioning, so I really have nothing to complain about for sure. Hi, Lindsay. Good to see you. Glad you're here. So, yeah, I just got back yesterday from a trip, so I'm ready to be back in there. Hi, Adam. 97 in Mission Viejo. Yeah, that's hi, Kristen. I'm so glad you're back. So excited. Can't wait to hear more about. Kristen was just filming on a series that I did, and I'm excited to hear more stories from the set. Um, yeah, so 97 Mission Viejo, that's about the same here as well. Which, it could be worse. It could be 100 plus. So I probably shouldn't complain. But um, good to see you, Adam and Madison. Oh, the Blue Nails. Yeah, I did a cruise. So I was doing, like watercolors and things. And I'm so taken with the color of the waters in the Caribbean. It's just so amazing to me and so refreshing to me. So yeah, these were my go to the Caribbean nails. A different color for me. So anyway, you got to have some fun, right? Um, Hi, Michelle. It's good to see you, Michelle. I'm good. And greetings from Mexico and greetings to Mexico. Um, yeah, I was just down in I guess it's called the Western Caribbean or Eastern Caribbean. I guess Eastern Caribbean. So that included 3 stops in Mexico. So yeah, I've been sort of had my days of good Mexican music and decor and people, and it's been great. So anyway, hi Sam, good to see you. And Kalinda or Celinda. I don't know which it is, Kalinda or Celinda. I'm going to say Celinda. Um, and yeah, great to see you guys. So it's winter in Brazil. Okay, so you're like all warm, cozy, wearing sweaters, and we're we're fanning ourselves because it's so hot. I love it. Well, I hear Brazil is beautiful though, so I hope you're enjoying a beautiful winter time in Brazil. 111. Oh, that's not fun. I'm sorry, Roper. That's a little hot. Yeah, see, 97 doesn't sound so bad when you're talking about 111. Hi, Peter. Good to see you. So today I'm going to continue to answer questions, um, and just whatever you guys want to talk about. I know that the strike is on some people's minds. If you happen to be a SAG AFTRA actor, then you're right in the middle of that. And if not, it's still affecting production companies and talent agencies and all kinds of people just as residual effects. And so, yeah, I know that that's on people's minds for sure. But I'm happy to answer any of the other questions. I see, Gabrielle, you said you just saw the trailer for Divine Influence. I really love that movie. It's a very fun, like rom-com, but with heart and with a message. And I love the cast. I end up loving the cast of all the projects that I do, though I'm super fortunate that way. But I really like that one, and I just think it's heartwarming, and hopefully, if you right now it's streaming on PureFlix, and if you have a chance to see it, then I encourage you to do so. I think you'll find it quite charming. And if any of you are familiar with The Chosen, the lead of Divine Influencer plays Eden in The Chosen, which is Simon Peter's wife. And they had a powerful season last season. So it's fun to see her in something that's much lighter, for sure, and where she can have a little fun and do some comedy. So imagine that, comedy in a faith film. Imagine. There just aren't enough of those, in my opinion. So anyway, it's great to see you guys. So if you have any questions, let me know. I know we had some questions. Diego, who you're not seeing, but who is, of course, always doing the work in the background, had some questions from last time. So here's one. What does the SAG strike mean to me as an up-and-coming actor? If you're not in SAG, it doesn't probably mean a whole lot, other than if you're in a market where it's primarily SAG work, then things are going to be very, very slow for you. So like the major markets, LA, New York, even Atlanta, they are heavily SAG now. Most of the projects that are in there are SAG projects. So that means everything is shut down and slowed down. And so, and even projects, there's projects that aren't sure and they're kind of holding back and waiting. So I think there's just this natural lull. So as far as you being an up and coming actor, I think it just means things are going to be slower than normal. And so you may find it more challenging. Now, on the flip side, there may be productions, maybe more modest budget productions, that were toying with whether to go union or non-union with their production, who will probably opt to go non-union and avoid the strike stuff at all. So if you're not union, then it may be, you may find more opportunities for a little bit in productions that have opted to go forward non-union as opposed to union. And that typically, I think, will apply, like I said, to very modest budget projects that aren't as driven by the need to have names. That's one of the reasons, one of the biggest reasons that productions, if they're trying to decide between non-SAG or SAG, that they go SAG because they need the strength of well-known names or recognizable faces to drive the demand for their movie and to help with distribution and sales and all of that. And so they will opt to go SAG for that reason, so that they can bring in those kinds of talent. So not going SAG, there just aren't as many opportunities for that. There are actors who are either non-SAG or SAG eligible. They live in a market where they can stay SAG eligible and don't have to join SAG because they're in a right to work state and they're working in a right to work state. Or they're SAG FICOR, and that's a whole nother topic. But still, I think for those films that really need to get some recognizability, really you have to go SAG for the most part for that, depending on what kind of names you're looking for. So anyway, I don't know that it'll mean a whole lot. It may provide, like I said, depending where you are, it may provide you more opportunity because some productions may opt to go non-SAG that might have gone SAG otherwise. But in the major markets, I think it's going to be a lull. So you may find it slower and it may be a harder time to sort of feel like you're going to gain some momentum, but it's a great time to get yourself prepared and do all of your work and your study and, do all your homework so that when the opportunity comes, you're ready. So that's what I would say. How do I know when I need to increase I think we talked about this last time. How do I know when I need to increase my day rate? Yeah, we did talk about this last time. So you can visit the previous, not last week's, but the week before. But I will tell you in general, if you have built up a very strong resume of work, if you have a precedence for a higher rate, or if you typically work on full budget, like a full budget project, and I'll just refer to SAG because they have very specific, rates at certain budget levels. But if you are typically working at a full budget SAG rate, and you have an opportunity, or someone wants you to work on a modified low or a ultra low, which typically that rate is much lower, you would have you could go back and say, hey, this is usually my day rate. You can always try, but you have to kind of know where your line in the sand is as far as when you're going to walk away from the opportunity, or when you're going to compromise and take the opportunity despite a rate that isn't as high as you would like. Sometimes productions just flat out don't have it to give you. It has nothing to do with how great they think you are, or how quote unquote worth it you are. It has everything to do with the fact they just flat out don't have it. Budgets are really tight, especially on the smaller budget films, and so it isn't a matter of not wanting to pay that, they just can't. So when we post a breakdown, we do put a bottom line rate, and you need to be aware of that. Your agents are typically aware of that, so that you understand kind of that it is scale for that production, and to understand that may in fact be all there is. Again, your agent can ask for more, but you need to have made a decision whether you're going to walk away if they don't give you more, or kind of where you stand with that. So there's that. Sadie, hi Sadie, cute picture. Should he wait till after the strike to submit to agents? Yeah, agents are in a very difficult territory. I do not believe this is the time that they're going to be taking on new clients. If you're talking about submitting to try to get an agent, I just don't think this is the time. They're going to be feeling the effects negatively financially. And so they're going to have some recovery time from that. And so investing in new clients is not going to be something that I think a lot of agents are going to be looking to do right after the strike clears, because they need to then get going, get their clients working, and start to get the revenue stream going, because they're one of the industries that's going to suffer financially from this as well. So yeah, not a great time to submit to agents for consideration. You can always send them an email through their website or whatever. And, you can always send something in, but don't be surprised if you don't get a response. It's not a great time right now for taking on new developing clients. I think they're going to be pretty focused on trying to keep the clients they have stable financially, as well as their own agencies stable financially. So, hi, Kristen. I saw a few of the set pictures of the cast that Kristen was a part of, and I'll tell you more about that project as it gets closer, but it looked great. So I'm excited that worked out. Have you personally noticed a decrease in projects on the casting lately because of the strike? Yeah, there's projects that were going to go that are now holding back. And again, like I was saying, they're holding back because they need SAG actors. They plan to go SAG. And so now I know a lot of productions that are applying for the interim agreements, getting approval for the interim agreements. And so if they're granted that, then they can move forward. So I know of 2 or 3 personally that are in the process of seeking approval for the interim agreement, so they can in fact get up and get going. So that is possible, and you may start to see some productions get back up if they're truly independent. You won't see any of the studio stuff or the TV shows or network shows or any of that, but truly independent productions, if they can get the waiver granted, then they will be up. They will be going. So you may start to see some things getting posted and some breakdowns going out for some of those projects. So that's good. That's encouraging, I think. All right, William, where he's enjoying winter. As believer actors, we have to turn down many secular immoral roles. How can we stand out in a competitive market besides training? There is no formula. I wish I could tell you if you do A, B, and C, then you'll have the success you're looking for. But it unfortunately, it just doesn't work that way. When we're casting and we're looking for people, it's very role specific, of course. We're looking for just the right person for a specific role or series of roles, and it's all about what you bring to the performance. And so I think that's about really being the kind of actor that can find truth in any material, that you're able to find the truth of the character, the truth of the scene, even it's the most outrageous scene or character or scenario. You still have to find the truth in it and the groundedness in it. And those actors who are able to do that kind of work, who are able to take a scene and inhabit it so completely that we can't see anybody else playing it, or give a performance that only you could give, right? Every performance you give, only you could give, because you're bringing your own unique spin to it. So I think there's no formula to standing out, but being that kind of an actor, who is digging deeper than sort of just the surface 2 or 3 log line about what the scene is, but digging deeper and creating backstory and thinking outside of the box sometimes. Now, I don't mean come up with these crazy, bizarre auditions and being outlandish just for the sake of being outlandish. You don't stand out in a positive way doing that. But when I say think outside of the box, if it's a scene where there's an argument, say, and the argument's going back and forth, well, how else can you argue other than yelling at each other, right? How can you convey that? What are the ways that you could approach that heated anger and argument in a way that isn't expected, but is still grounded in truth and honesty? Those are the kinds of actors that end up standing out. Even if they're not right for the particular role they read for, they will stand out as being a really, really, sharp, gifted actor that we'll keep our eye out for, in the future, or keep in mind in the future. So I wish I had a formula for you. I don't, other than just bring as much of yourself to it so that it has truth and it's grounded, and think differently, and push yourself differently, and try things when you're rehearsing and when you're getting ready for an audition. Try things differently outside of the box. See what can come of it, just to push those boundaries and to push your muscles, to explore your muscles, your acting muscles, in a way that kind of creates something new and fresh. Yeah, I wish I had a better, easier formula, but there really isn't a formula for it. So yeah. Hi, Chase. What is one of your most memorable, meaningful experiences you've had in any casting working on a project? Wow. I honestly, if you see me post about projects, I'm always like this. I love this cast and I love this team. I have been so, so, so fortunate to work with wonderful filmmakers, and to do some really great projects too. And of course, some resonate on a deeper level for whatever reason. I will say, probably working on I Can Only Imagine was probably one of my favorite, because it married my love of music. I grew up singing music, being on a worship team, and did some, semi-professional singing when I was younger. And So music has always been kind of a worship language for me. And so being able to tell that story and to be a part of seeing that movie flourish was really exciting. Plus, it was a challenge. You know, I had to look for singers and not just actors, but then also singers and try to be very specific. And these were real people, so we also had to keep that in mind. So it was a challenge, but I loved it. But that's just one of many that I've really, really valued. So, you know, they're just, each of them is different. The filmmakers are different, but I end up loving them all just for different reasons. So I'm super fortunate that way. I'm very thankful, very, very thankful. Okay. So let's see, Diane, do you focus primarily on performance or is it close to 50-50 with the acting and the look? I noticed they mostly pick women my age that look like an old school stigma grandma rather than a hip type like me. Um, look, look is a lot of it. So yes, if they have a, a look that they want for the role, that the director wants for the role, then that is going to be the first level of selection, is trying to find the people that fit physically. And there are times when we're doing an audition and we see the actor come in, or on screen, and their look isn't right, and we know it right away just based on what the director's telling us. And sometimes that's because the actor hasn't kept their headshot current, so they come in looking very different than the headshot they actually submitted us, which, as you all know, is a no-no. So don't do that. But so the look is important. It's a part of telling the story the way that the director wants to tell the story. And just like your example, this kind of hip contemporary grandma type versus a more traditional old school grandma type, those are two very different characters, and so they will present the story differently, and they will affect the story differently. So if the director wants the old school, more traditional type approach, then that's why they're choosing. So it's not like they're not choosing hip grandmas. It's really the role. So it's really goes back to the writing. If the writers are writing mostly old school traditional grandmothers, then that's what us as casting directors are going to be looking for. So it's really more probably about the stories than it is a trend towards not wanting a hip grandma. I mean, I've had films where we're casting plenty of older actors, male and female, that we want to have a more contemporary, modern, take on the story. But so that it's really about the story at that point. And as you know, the physical look of an actor is as much communicates to the audience as much as the words that they say. And the two need to work together. And I don't know, I certainly have seen movies where the look of someone is distracting me. Like it just doesn't seem to fit with what I'm being told is supposed to fit together. So they really do go hand in hand, for sure. What is your favorite acting method? I will say I don't have one, because I don't consider myself an acting teacher as far as going into the various different methods. And I know so many wonderful actors who each approach it differently and use different methods. And many of them teach those separate methods, right? And so but I do think it's good for you as an actor to explore those different methods and find out what works for you, and not assume that just because this friend of yours or actor colleague of yours is doing, Stanislavski, or, some other method, that's what you need to do. And I I've known of actors who feel like, okay, well, I've heard this buzzword, I'll do this method, and then they go and it doesn't feel right. It doesn't fit. So then they're beating themselves up because they think they're doing something wrong. When in reality, it's just not the right fit for them as an actor. And I think especially as actors where faith is an important part of who we are, um, and how you approach a story and wanting to honor that in the work that you do and the way that you do it. Some acting methods are, I think, more compatible with that than maybe some others. And then there's also emotional work, and how the method of pulling emotion from you in a real way for you to display emotion and portray emotion, um, how you get to that and unlock that in an actor's psyche, um, can also be an area that you really have to find that method of training that works right for you. Don't assume that you should you should do it this way. There is no should. I would explore. And if you're working in a class or with a teacher and they're teaching a certain method and it doesn't feel right to you, that's not a bad thing. Just try another one, you know. Marianne. Hi, Marianne. It's good to see you. Um, as I'm moving into a new market, which, yes, I know that's a big move, but happy for you. What is the best way to connect with casting directors in a new to me market? Do you prefer an agent reach out on behalf of a client? Agent reach out is great. That's always great. So, yeah, if you already have agency representation there, then yes, definitely have them reach out and send your materials and just, make it known that you're a new client in town, for sure. If there's an opportunity to do any showcase or local theater work, that in that new market, then I would maybe pursue that as well, depending on your schedule. I know you have a lot going on with your schedule, but if you find an opportunity to do that, that is oftentimes a great way to get exposure to a new market, and the casting people and filmmakers maybe in that area. But I I think that's probably the agent reach out is probably the most obvious first thing to do, and then get connected with the film community in that area. So if they have um, a local film commission office, or oftentimes there'll be a meetup group, that app Meetup, or other social gathering apps where you can meet up with other actors or people in the film community of that area. And that may be really good for you too, because someone will know someone, or you'll meet other actors in the area, and they can also help maybe with introductions, or kind of give you the inside info on who's casting in that area and what they're doing, and kind of how to connect with them. So yeah, I'm excited for you though. All right, William, what are some effective strategies for trained believer artists to stand out and build a strong career, even if they have limited secular experience? It doesn't, I don't need you, like, having limited secular experience isn't necessarily a bad thing. Um, you want to have, like, we want to see that you do have experience and that you are working. But it could be that you're working with other filmmakers and you're doing some really high quality short films that are getting entered into festivals. And there's other ways for you to um, continue to keep the momentum going for yourself. And I would say just look for every opportunity you can to keep working, whether it's a short film, a student film, depending on, I know you being in Brazil, I don't know the vicinity as far as to universities and student filmmakers and things like that. But that can be a great way. Somebody who's doing films for the festival circuit, that can be great to get some recognition and, gives some real strength to your resume. So that's good. And it does beef up your resume for sure, but it's really going to be your performance above all. So if you give an amazing performance, but your resume isn't that strong, it's not going to matter as much. And vice versa. If your resume is, just super strong and lots of work, but the performance isn't there, it won't matter that you have a packed resume. What's going to matter is the performance. So, okay, this is not casting, but your hair. You're so cute. Thank you, Grace. That's very kind of you. It lightened up a little bit in the sun, but yeah, I'm trying to grow it out. Anyway, thank you. That's very nice of you. Alfred Ramirez. Hi, Alfred. How do I know when I need a manager? I think it's one of those things that you'll know when you know. I think a manager, if you have an agent, now if you don't have an agent, you may opt to go to a manager first and not an agent, depending on what you're doing and what market you're in and what manager you might connect with. Some people opt to go manager before they go agent because that manager can sometimes connect them to better level agents. So you may opt to do that. But if you already have an agent and you're wondering, do I also need a manager? I think a manager is going to be helpful when you start to have multiple projects and you are wanting to kind of stay focused and create a long-term plan for where you want to go, and almost like even like a branding, not so much like, well, you kind of are the product as the actor, but to align your social media with what you want to do, or to maybe help on that side of it, and to develop that part of your presence online. A manager can be really helpful for that, and again can keep you focused when opportunities start to come your way, multiple opportunities. And if you're not sure about the filmmakers, you're not sure if that's what you should do, a manager can help you navigate that, because they often have fewer clients that they're more focused with and have like a long-term game plan with than agents typically have a broader number of clients. And depending on their client list, they may not have the ability or the time to be able to be working with you on social media campaigns, or looking for those kinds of opportunities, or looking for other ways for you to kind of have your footprint out there, or get to know people, or which film festivals, or travel with you to a film festival and work on promotion and that kind of thing. So but if you're not really at that point where that's a natural need for you, then I would hold off. But I think you'll start to sense when that time is right, when it's becoming, it may be overwhelming, kind of the different opportunities that you're getting, and you also may be feeling that you want to explore an avenue or a part or a social media site or whatever, and you're not quite equipped, or you don't have that in your team already that they can help you with that, in which case you would seek out someone specifically for that. Yeah, I think you'll sense it. There is no set timeline, but I think you'll sense it, that it's time, because it does cost you money. So you want to make sure that it's added value. It's not just someone who isn't filling a niche in what you're trying to do and the goals you're trying to set. But if you are ready, then there are some really great ones who can really take you to that next level for sure. So Courtney, beautiful picture. Should we keep student films and indie films on our resume even after we have several network credits? Is a long, bulky resume better? Smaller resume with more substantial professional credits? I would say we don't want a long, bulky resume. I mean, it really should be one page. But I think short films, indie films, student films, especially if you were the lead of any of those, then I think those are still great, because if you have network credits, but they're like a guest star or a one-day role or a smaller role, but then you have a student film or indie film and you were the lead, that's significant. So I would say that you don't want to rule out the student films and indie films completely. You may want to just pick and choose which ones you put on there. The ones that have that your part was more significant, I would maybe leave those on there. I think, I don't know how full and bulky your resume is, but a good solid list of credits is not a bad thing to have at all. So I would say, unless you really, really need to thin out the resume, I would keep them on there. And then when it is time for you to thin it out a little, then just take out the ones where your role maybe wasn't as prominent or significant. Or maybe if it's one where the end result, you didn't feel like that the end result was a great representation of your talent or your abilities, you might want to take that off. But as a rule, I wouldn't say take them off. I would just have it be a process as your other credits grow. Yeah. Okay. Diane, hello from Cheeseland. I love it. Let's see, who else? Charles Babler, what film festivals do you like? Well, I'm most often asked about the faith film festivals, and there are actually more and more of them, and a lot of them that I don't even know about. So when I say my favorites, it's really because they're the ones that I've experienced. So I do love Christian Worldview Film Festival. And that is usually every March, I think. I think so. Or May. I don't know. I think it's March. And that's usually in Georgia. And I love that. That particular film festival is a great mix of learning from really great, there we go, learning from really great professionals, filmmakers who are doing the work, who are making the films, who are active and are talking from what they've actually experienced as opposed to kind of more book knowledge. It's, if you're a person of faith, it's a great time of fellowship and tremendous opportunities for worship. And I end up leaving there there's been a couple years I've gone when I'm honestly just completely broken and just wiped out, and I've gone and been completely filled. And there's just something really powerful about that particular group of people and the structure. You're learning from some of the top professionals, but at the end of the day, the bottom line is about honoring God and how do you do that through your work, and then also pushing us to have excellence, and then learning and growing from each other. It's a really great one. ICVM is coming up, and it's coming up in November. ICVM has traditionally been more focused on distributors and kind of the business side of things, filmmakers, and connecting with the distribution side of things, some foreign markets because it is international, but they are working really hard to build up the acting side of it. In fact, this coming November, we're going to have some very specific an acting track that I think is going to be really great. And so that's ICVM, and that stands for International Christian Visual Media. And so I think there's going to be exciting things for actors there. That's going to be in Nashville in November. And so I'll try to share with you more about that one, because that's one that for the actors is growing. And I think we're going to be doing some exciting things. So, and then of course there's ICFF, International Christian Film. It's really Film and Music Festival, but it's ICFF. And that's really good one if you have films and material to enter, because there's a lot of categories and a lot of opportunity there. But also, again, just great people that there. I went to some fantastic seminars last time, and just learned a lot from my colleagues, just really gleaned from that. And really benefit a lot from what they had to say. And so, yeah, I think those three are the three that come to mind, but I know there's content, there's others as well. I think Christian Casting, that Facebook page, the Christian Casting community, I think may have somewhere a list, or you can ask and they may direct you to a list of film festivals, or you can do the research, your own research, and find those out. There's a lot of great ones. Those are the three that come to mind, probably like three of the biggest ones, I think. So yeah. Okay. I can't believe that almost 45 minutes has flown by. I missed you guys last week. So next week we're going to do monologues. So live monologues next week, and Diego will post how, if you want to be one of those. So Kristen Willette, if you remember, she was in our first monologue session. She was one that did a monologue, which was great. And then, came together, and she auditioned for a project I was doing. It was just great. So, so next Tuesday, he's going to post the instructions, and he said he's going to post them tomorrow, and that'll tell you how you get in touch to potentially be one of the people that performs live. And so basically you perform like a 2-minute monologue, not longer than that, just because we want to be able to see multiple people. And then I'll give you feedback and redirects and kind of play with it a little bit, and we'll do that live. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I think it'll be great, and love to see you guys. I think we had all women last time, so we need to get a few of the guys in there. So yeah, look for those instructions and sign up, and we'll go from there. Diego will let you know the people that are, yeah, Diego, we need more guys submitting, right? We didn't have any guys last time, so I'd love to have a few dudes in there. So yeah, we'll do that next Tuesday night, and I will actually be coming to you from Nashville on Tuesday night. So I'm doing a workshop with Tina Gallo in Nashville this coming weekend on Saturday and Sunday. And then I'll be in Nashville for a few days for some meetings. And so, yeah, I'll be coming to you from Nashville. Actually, probably Franklin, Tennessee. But anyway, I'll be there. So me and my blue nails will see you next Tuesday. And I appreciate you guys. Love you guys. And see, Kristen Willette says, yay for monologue. Submit, don't overthink it. She's right. Don't overthink it. Okay. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. And just really appreciate your kindness to me, and appreciate how kind and encouraging you are to each other. So you're a great little Tuesday family, and I appreciate you all being here with me. So until next Tuesday, try to stay cool, or in your case, William, warm. And I'll see you next week from Nashville. Okay, bye.